I've been there standing in the aisle, eyeing a cheap countertop dough mixer that promises big capacity for a fraction of the price, only to end up with a motor that stalls halfway through a batch of sourdough and a bowl that wobbles on the counter. That kind of buyer's remorse is why I hesitate before I click Add to Cart. Especially when the kitchen is the kind of place where a misstep can ruin an entire weekend of baking. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. In this video, I'm going to walk through why the JARYANNIX 110V 50L dough mixer might actually feel like the smarter buy, and where it could still leave you wanting more. First off, the category itself, commercial-style stand mixers, has a reputation for being either a high-priced bakery investment or a cheap, underpowered hobbyist's toy. Most home bakers end up stuck in the middle, buying a mid-range unit that can handle a couple of dozen rolls but starts whining when you try a big rye dough or a butter-laden croissant batch. The JARYANNIX is marketed as a double-action, double-speed machine with a 50-liter bowl and a 44-pound dough capacity, which sounds like it's aimed at the serious home baker who occasionally needs commercial volume. The question is whether the engineering behind those numbers translates into daily usability. I tested the mixer with 3 real-world scenarios that I think most people who bake regularly will recognize. First, a batch of pizza dough for a family movie night. The dough hook pulled the dough into a smooth, elastic ball in about 3 minutes on the medium speed, and the timer kept the cycle consistent without me having to watch the clock. The bowl stayed rocksteady, which matters because I have a wooden countertop that can't tolerate a shaking machine. Second, I tried a high-hydration sourdough starter that usually needs a lot of stretch and fold. The high-efficiency mixing mode gave the dough a nice window pane test after the first rise, and the machine didn't overheat despite the sticky consistency. Finally, I threw a batch of sweet cinnamon rolls that require a long, gentle knead to keep the butter layers intact. The low-speed setting was gentle enough not to break the butter pockets, and the built-in timer let me set a 20-minute cycle and walk away without worrying about overkneading. Those tests highlight the practical strengths. The biggest win is the capacity. A 50-liter bowl is genuinely huge for a home kitchen, meaning you can double or even triple a recipe without having to run multiple cycles. The adjustable speed and timer combo is also a real convenience. I never had to guess when the dough was ready because the machine stops automatically. The safety features an automatic shutoff if the bowl is removed, and a sturdy lock on the hook gave me confidence that I could step away without fearing a sudden spin-out. However, the size also brings hidden trade-offs. The footprint is about the size of a small refrigerator, so you need a dedicated spot on the counter or a sturdy table. I found it a bit of a chore to move it back into storage after use, especially if your kitchen layout is tight. The 110-volt motor is powerful enough for the dough volumes it advertises, but it draws a noticeable amount of electricity. The unit runs hotter than a typical home mixer, so you'll want to keep it away from flammable surfaces and give it a few minutes to cool before cleaning. Speaking of cleaning, the bowl has a wide lip that makes it a little tricky to get water into the corners without a brush, and the hook can trap bits of dough that need a quick scrape. Who should consider buying this machine? If you're the type who bakes for a crowd, think weekly bread clubs, large family gatherings, or a side hustle selling pastries, this mixer saves you time and effort by letting you batch process dough that would otherwise require several smaller mixes. It also fits well for hobbyists who love to experiment with multiple doughs in one go, like trying a rye loaf, a baguette, and a cinnamon roll all in the same afternoon. The durability and safety features make it a candidate for a semi-professional kitchen, where you want a machine that can stand up to repeated heavy use without constant maintenance. On the flip side, if your baking routine is limited to a couple of loaves a week, or if you have a cramped kitchen and need something that slides easily under cabinets, this JARYANNIX might be overkill. A standard 5-liter countertop mixer can handle most home recipes with less space demand and lower power consumption. Also, if you're very price-sensitive, there are cheaper models that, while they may lack the massive bowl, still deliver solid performance for smaller batches. In those cases, the extra capacity becomes a wasted feature rather than a benefit. Another practical consideration is the learning curve. The double-action kneading means the hook both rotates and moves up and down, which can feel different from the simple rotary motion most home mixers use. I noticed that the dough sometimes clumped near the sides before the hook's vertical motion pulled it inward.